Welcome to a rare Planet Evans LP and Geezer Gaming channel update. It's been a while since I've done one of these. And this one maybe was, I don't know, a long time coming. Because a little bit of drama in the comments section of my last Cyberpunk upload made me aware that I guess I gotta pay more attention to my rig's specs and what it's outputting. And I'm aware that maybe only one of my 3 audience members is interested in this kind of spurgy stuff. It's basically nobody cares about this stuff besides the spurgs. But I guess I'm one of those spurgs, and I'm concerned that my system is optimized and outputting at its best, let's say, and recording at its best. Anyway, all of that sounds pretty cryptic. Bottom line is, I thought for sure that I was putting out 60 frames per second when recording Cyberpunk episodes. And a new viewer, probably, somebody who probably actually doesn't follow me, kind of pointed out in a slightly snarky way that, I wasn't putting out 60 FPS. Now, I got a little testier than I should have. I should have looked into it before I responded. And the reason why I got testy is because I know my system can put out 60 frames per second while I'm playing Cyberpunk. Unless CD Projekt Red has issued an update that has killed my frames per second. And that's exactly what happened without me knowing it. The thing about CD Projekt Red updates is they affect a lot of things. And if you've watched my Cyberpunk episodes, you know that I've griped about them in the past. They almost always, the major updates anyway, almost always completely eliminate my perk point allocation. And at this point in playing Cyberpunk, I have about, I don't know, it's somewhere around 20 or 30 perk points allocated. So every time they update and wipe out my perk point allocation, I have to go through the process of reallocating those perk points. And the last update, it wasn't just a case of deallocating the perk points, it was a case of totally reconfiguring the perk point trees and the perk point system. All right. Anyway, so somewhere along the line here, CD Projekt Red issued an update that completely revamped the resolution scaling. And I don't know. I mean, I guess I can go through, the bullet points of the update and figure out what they I just don't have time for that. And CD Projekt Red seems to be in love with updates. Even now, 4 years, I think, or... Yeah, right, it was 2020, right? 4 years into this game, they're still issuing updates like mad. Anyway, bottom line is, I didn't realize that a resolution scaling update changed my original resolution scaling settings and changed it in a way that totally robbed me of FPS, of frames per second. And I should have been aware of it, and I wasn't. And like I said, a little bit of drama in the comment section was challenging my, when I titled these Cyberpunk videos, I put in there, I put in the video title the fact that I have an RTX 3090 and the fact that I'm recording at 4K, and so I thought 60 frames per second. But for however long now, I have not been recording at 60 frames per second. And as much as I didn't like it, this commenter made me aware of that. So the whole purpose of this channel update is just for the few Spurgs out there who care. And, you know, I have on YouTube, I have almost no views. I mean, my gaming channel gets no views at all. Now, what is on other sites like BitChute and Odyssey, I do pretty well with views. Not so much on Odyssey. Odyssey, it's pretty tough to get views. But on BitChute, that's basically where the majority of my audience is. So this channel update will probably be even less interesting to them because I only upload the 4K 60 frames per second videos onto BitChute. And because, onto YouTube. Because the technological advantage of YouTube is that it has such a robust back end that it can serve out 4K 60 frames per second video. But BitChute and Odyssey and other video sharing sites like them that are decentralized really don't have the backbone that YouTube has and the horsepower to serve out 4K 60 frames per second video. So in most cases, I would assume, again, I've since I started my channel and since I opened my accounts on other video sharing sites like BitChute and Odyssey, I've been asking what the maximum output of those sites is, and my best guess is that it's 720p 30 frames per second. So the bottom line is, for those viewers on those sites, this video is just going to be like, who cares? Why are you even bothering? But the reason why I'm bothering is mostly the YouTube viewership, which, like I said, is minimal. I'm lucky if I get into the double digits in views on YouTube, whereas on BitChute, like, I pretty regularly get about 300 views per gaming video, which isn't much, but you know, BitChute isn't as big as YouTube. So you can, if you were going to compare BitChute views to YouTube views, you kind of add a zero. So it would be like I was getting 3,000 views per video on YouTube. But the weird thing is, recently what happens on YouTube every once in a while, my suspicion is that my original Planet Evans account was highly political and expressed some wrong-think views. And then I created my gaming channel and linked it through various ways to my original Planet Evans channel on YouTube. And my suspicion is that it kind of, once YouTube started censoring and banning and shadow banning and doing all the things it did with wrongthink, you know, however many years ago, probably started doing that stuff in the mid 2010s, like sometime around 2015, and then especially ramped it up in 2016 for obvious reasons. I think not only did my original Planet Evans account, which you used to get tens of thousands of views per video, but that that just those views the view numbers fell off a cliff. I think it also affected my gaming channel. So my gaming channel, it's rare that I even get double-digit videos, but occasionally I get these weird viewing spurts, like you can see here that I'm showing you in this screen capture. Every once in a while, it seems like YouTube drops the shadow banning and lets my gaming videos get into people's recommended video lists. And out of the blue, I'll get 50 to 100 views on a gaming video on YouTube, which is, for me, unheard of. And it'll last for a couple weeks, and then it'll die again, and I'll be back down to single-digit views. Right. So anyway, the short of all this is when that happens, I get a lot of eyeballs looking at my gaming videos that I don't normally do. And rightly or wrongly, some of these viewers are highly critical of my content. And I usually take it in stride, but for whatever reason, this assertion on the part of a new viewer that I wasn't getting 60 frames per second in my Cyberpunk, I should specify here, only in my Cyberpunk gaming videos, and only on YouTube, where I can theoretically upload 4K 60 frames per second, kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Because I know my system is capable of it. But again, I should have thought, soon as that person commented, I should have been like, you know what? CD Projekt Red stuck it up my posterior with an update, and I'm probably not getting 60 frames per second. But it didn't occur to me, and I got a little testy. Anyway. So what this video is all about is kind of clearing the air here. Three games that I play right now really stress my system and really put it through the rigors. And that's Cyberpunk 2077, The Witcher 3 with the next-gen update. So at this point, what I'm playing are the DLCs. So essentially, Witcher 3, Blood and Wine, it was Hearts of Stone as well, really tested my system. And Stalker. So you got three games: Cyberpunk 2077, The Witcher 3 next gen, and Stalker. Those are the only games I play that really stress out my gaming rig. So what I want to do in this video is with MSI Afterburner up, which you should be able to see right now in the upper left here. With it up and running on my gaming rig, and with the frames per second clear to everybody watching this, just want to run through the rigors on those three games and, just baseline test my system and put it all out there where I'm at with my output, so there's no ambiguity. Now, what I noticed. All right, let me start up Cyberpunk here. And we'll give it a few minutes to load up here. Or a few seconds, hopefully. Hopefully it doesn't take a few minutes to load up. Okay, so here I am. Pretty much at the same spot I was at the end of the last Cyberpunk episode. Luckily, normally what I do is I play, or sometimes I should say, it's not always the case, but I'll take a day or two and play for several hours on these days, recording the video, and sort of save that as raw video, and then edit and upload it at my leisure. So luckily the end of last episode was sort of the end of my archived or raw video reserves. So I don't have to, if I want 60 frames per second again, I don't have to re-record gameplay that I've already played. So I hate doing that because now it's not my fresh reaction to the game. It's not me, it's just kind of me redoing stuff that I already did, and it doesn't seem quite as, I don't know, it doesn't seem quite as fresh and honest, let's say. So I'm going to be able to pretty much take off from where I left off on Cyberpunk without re-recording stuff, and with the 60 frames per second output rather than what I was getting. Now let me see if I can demonstrate here what I was getting without knowing it. So if we go here to, oh boy, what is going on? Okay, let's do it this way. No, that's not what I want to do. Radio port file. I don't even know what this is supposed to be at. I don't know why this is. Okay, let me try this again. Is it not gonna, why is it not getting me up to, there we go. Okay, sorry about that. So what the update set me to, if I can remember what this was, I think it was this Intel that, all right, so the resolution scaling was basically the problem. And it set me to this Intel XeSS resolution scaling. And it wasn't even at performance. Oops, went the wrong way there. I believe it was at, I don't know if it was ultra quality or quality. But anyway, let's try one of these, and I think you'll see the difference right away. Let's go back to the game. Yeah, so this is what it was set at, and it was dropping me down in many instances to 30 frames per second or worse. I think sometimes with this you actually, yeah, if you all these NPCs, if you get in a big crowd of NPCs, or if you head into like the depths of the city where the ray tracing gets, you have a million light sources. Here you only have like, street lights and maybe some signs here and there, but among the skyscrapers and on the center city sidewalk, you get a lot of light sources, which means the ray tracing is getting maxed out, and it's just bogging down your system. So this was the setting that it defaulted to for whatever reason in one of the updates. So what I did is I originally, if you watched my last channel, I think it was my last channel update, the last channel update that was me talking about downloading Cyberpunk 2077 and setting up all the graphics, setting up the the 4K resolution, choosing my HDR mode, all that. It was just to spurg out on me getting Cyberpunk, setting it up, and going through some gameplay, fiddling with the ray tracing settings, seeing what FPS I could get. If you watch that, I got it to a point where it was getting 60 FPS, and I kind of left the settings there. I think I fiddled with them a little bit behind the scenes, so to speak, to optimize stuff. But basically what you see in that video was what I set Cyberpunk to and my system to. And I thought, Okay, I'm done. Not knowing that um, at that time, the resolution scaling, you had two choices. You had um, DLS, which at the time wasn't called DLS Super Resolution. It was just called DLSS. And did I just call it DLS? DLSS resolution scaling, and you had AMD resolution scaling. Now, the AMD resolution scaling was for AMD video cards. It wasn't something you could use here, which you seem to be able to use now, which is fine because, like I said, it gives me better performance. So, anyway, now they've updated it. You have a bunch of different choices. You have this Intel choice. You have this DLSS. You have AMD. So I've had to do kind of some testing and figure out that this is the best setting for my system. It allows me, and now it seems, did I change something there? Let me see what I did here. I think I changed something here. Did it do the thing now? I think we're should be all right. I think it'll catch up in a second here. Yeah, so this seems to be the best with the new update. This makes my system happiest. Now, like I said, even as you can see, I'm getting over 60 frames per second at 4K here. I'm getting into low 70 frames per second. Now, I won't, like I said, when you get into the city and you have more light sources and you have bigger crowds and your system gets a little more bogged down by the ray tracing and the NPC performance hit, I probably will be back down to 60 frames per second in the main city, but I don't want to get more than 60 frames per second. So actually, eventually here, what I'm going to do, I might as well do it now. I'm going to set my maximum FPS to 60 because that's all I really want to achieve. I'm not looking for 70 or 80 frames per second or anything crazy like that. Just need 60 FPS most of the time. And as you can see, I'm pretty much going to get it. So that's the rundown on the new Cyberpunk settings. We're going to move on here to The Witcher 3, Blood and Wine, and Stalker in a moment. Now, I've never made any claims to getting 60 FPS with The Witcher 3 on PC or Stalker because I kind of knew without running MSI Afterburner that I wasn't going to get 60 FPS with those games. Those games are more around, I don't know, 40 or 50 FPS. You'll see in a moment what I get because we're gonna go through the exercise with those two games as well that we're going through here. Now, I should say that to ensure that I'm getting 60 FPS, I'm using two PCs now for Cyberpunk. What I was doing was using just my one PC, my one main gaming rig that has the actual games on it, and running OBS, the recording application, at the same time on that PC. So I had the game running and I had the OBS recording running at the same time. And originally with Cyberpunk back in 2020, that allowed me to get 60 FPS, no problem. But now I'm worried with all the CD Projekt Red updates that may not be the case. I may not be able to run the game plus the recording application. That may cut into my FPS a little bit if it's all in one rig. So I'm using my second rig, and if you care, you can see what my gaming rig's specs are in almost all my gaming channels, either Odyssey, YouTube, BitChute. If you click on the About, if you go to my channel page, click on the About tab or About link, you will see my gaming rig specs. Now, my recording rig is very similar to my gaming rig. My gaming rig has, what the hell does it have? It has an AMD CPU, so does my recording rig, and they both have RTX 3090 GPUs. So, then the reason why I sort of thought I might need the double rig recording setup back in the day, so I purchased another PC, got the RTX 3090 GPU for it, put it in there, but I mostly just used it for rendering, because you wouldn't think, but an hour-long episode at 4K can take, at times, it can take 24 hours to render using the rendering program. So I just kind of let that PC run and render, and that frees me up to use my gaming rig to play. My gaming rig isn't hosed up by rendering for, 12 to 24 hours not allowing me to play a game. It's, if I have a rendering rig, like I said, I'm free to play whenever I want. But now I'm thinking maybe I'll just have this rendering rig for recording as well, and that way the recording performance won't be a hit to my gaming PC. It'll be a hit to my recording PC, which, who cares? And the other thing that's doing is, so I kind of have like I have a HDMI cable out of my gaming PC into my recording PC. Now, on my gaming PC, it comes out of my video card ports, but on my recording PC, it goes into a Blackmagic 4K capture card HDMI port. And the coloring scheme when you do that is a little different. So you may notice I'm kind of fiddling with the coloring. I wasn't really happy with the way things looked in Night City with my gaming PC running the recording application and the game. I mean, it looked kind of nice, but I think I'm going to be happier with the look of things using two PCs, one playing the game, one recording. Just to me, I don't know. You guys can, if you care about any of this Spurgy crap, you can tell me if things look better or worse now. Yeah, but I'm just the reason why I'm bringing it up is because keep in mind I'm going to be fiddling with stuff over the next few episodes until I'm totally satisfied with the color scheme. I'm satisfied with the FPS output right now, but maybe not the color scheme. So just to review real quick and get back to the whole point of all this, what started all this, the comment exchange in the comment section of my last YouTube Cyberpunk upload. I shouldn't be as knee-jerk skeptical as I am when people make frames per second claims and what they can or cannot perceive. But I've seen a lot of pretty, I don't know, extravagant claims in comment sections of gaming videos. For instance, I wish I screen captured it, but I didn't. So you're just going to have to take my word on this. I've seen people say they can tell the difference between 24 frames per second and 30 frames per second. And I'm sorry, but you cannot. I'll believe that you can tell the difference between 30 frames per second and 60 frames per second, because when I'm paying attention and trying to willfully notice frames per second, yes, I can see a difference there. But when we're talking about 6 frames per second difference, no, you cannot tell the difference. And you can tell me as many times as you like that you can, but you can't. Anyway, so that kind of stuff just makes me highly skeptical of somebody showing up in my comment section and saying, hey, I know you're not getting the FPS that you claim you are. Well, if you're looking at it remotely, watching it remotely after I upload it, maybe you can, maybe you can't. In this case, the commenter was exactly right. My frames per second were dropping below 60 frames per second. So I need to curb my skepticism somewhat. Is that everything I wanted to rant and rave and bloviate about with Cyberpunk? I think it is. Okay. So we will change gears here and talk about The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine. So we have fast traveled from Night City to Toussaint, and hopefully you've been paying attention to the numbers in the upper left of my screen there. That is the frames per second I'm getting, as well as the temperature of my GPU. Now, like I said, I haven't made any extravagant claims about The Witcher 3 and the DLCs and what FPS I get, like I have with Cyberpunk 2077. In the titles of my Cyberpunk videos, I claim that I'm getting 4K 60 FPS because that's what my system can achieve, right? As long as I'm not getting bamboozled by CD Projekt Red updates. But in The Witcher 3, all I'm really concerned about is no stuttering while I'm playing the game. And the game, I mean, the game just looks damn good, I have to say. I have no complaints about this game when I'm, if I'm only getting 45 to 55 FPS, I don't care. Oh, and to accent how lovely this game looks, I'm going to meditate for a second here. Yeah, so here we go. A sunset in Toussaint. I mean, this game just looks amazing, regardless of your FPS. All I'm really looking for is no stuttering and an amazing game to look at, which is what I've got here. Yeah, it's a particularly visually stunning game. And along with the great characters and the great production, that's why this game was so amazing from day one and has remained amazing. Or one of the reasons, anyway. Or some of the reasons, I should say, since I mentioned at least 2 reasons there. Yeah, so I would assume that when I head into a Toussaint town, somewhere where there's a crowd of NPCs, maybe I can demonstrate it here at this little crossroads area. There aren't too many NPCs here. But once the density of NPCs increases, my FPS is going to drop, obviously. And it looks like it's dropping by about 10 FPS when I get into a crowd of NPCs.
Best cure for the beast, a witcher.
Not surprising. NPCs will bog down your system. The concern for me, well, I should say, I really didn't do an MSI Afterburner test with this game until pretty much my Cyberpunk FPSs were questioned and were coming under scrutiny. So I never really cared to test what I was getting with The Witcher 3, but knowing that it's when I upload it to YouTube, I upload it in a 4K rendered state, which I don't do on BitChute, I don't do on Odyssey, and any other distributed or decentralized video sharing sites that don't have the horsepower that YouTube and its endless Google money and endless Google servers allow it to output. Yeah, so what's concerning me now is not the FPS, it's that number above it, the GPU temperature. Now, right now it's at 79 Celsius. There we go, we just got to 80. When my system gets around 80, or I should say when my GPU temperature gets around 80 Celsius, I find it slightly concerning. Now, if you remember your high school chemistry classes and converting Fahrenheit to Celsius and vice versa, 100 Celsius is the boiling point of water, right? So I should mention that my gaming rig, if you follow me, you know this, but if you don't, you know, all three of my fans will know this, but if you're new here, you won't know this. My gaming rig is water cooled. And it's got a water block on the GPU on the RTX 3090. And essential to the heat transfer from the chip, the GPU chip, to the water so that the GPU stays cool, is this copper plate on the water block. So, you know, theoretically, if my GPU, which is now at 81 Celsius, if it got up to 100 Celsius, would the water circulating through the system start boiling right at that copper plate contact point? Now, there's thermal paste between the copper plate on the water block and the chip, the GPU chip. But if it went up 20 degrees, would that water start boiling? Anyway, so that as I'm doing this test here, I am slightly concerned about that damn temperature rating, but it just got up to 82. But I've been playing The Witcher 3 for forever now. And, you know, my PC hasn't melted down, so I don't know. I guess the worst that could happen is the thermal paste between the copper plate on the water block and the chip could, I don't know, dry out and crack and not transfer the heat so well. Who knows? Maybe that's what's going on now. Maybe I should replace that thermal paste. Anyway, I think that's everything to demonstrate FPS and graphics. Oh, no, I should, and let me do this. Let's go to video. Let's look at my settings here, right? Well, first let's look at the display settings. Yeah, this, I have, for OBS is the most frustrating application on the planet if you've ever used it. Now, I'm several versions behind on OBS, so maybe they've fixed this, but in order for me to get OBS to recognize The Witcher 3, I have to go back and forth from borderless window to full screen repeatedly until OBS recognizes it. It's just, it's nothing it's invisible to you guys, but it's just a really irritating bug, whatever, problem with OBS. But yeah, so you can see I'm at 4K. Oops, no, not what I wanted to do. Let's cancel that. Let's go to my graphics settings. And this is kind of what I have. Not kind of. This is what I have the next gen ray tracing settings set to. The important bit here, this is the resolution scaling, essentially, or at least The Witcher 3's analog to the Cyberpunk resolution scaling settings that I showed you. And this setting gives me the fewest amount of stutters. The only games that really stutter my system are The Witcher 3 and Stalker. We'll get into the Stalker stuttering in the next bit of this video when I bring up Stalker. But generally speaking, The Witcher 3 does not stutter for me. Sometimes, every now and then. But with these settings, it really irons out the stuttering. Or at least it should. That's been my experience, that it irons out the stuttering. Oh, and I've had the motion blur on, and I just don't like it. Doesn't really affect my system and my FPS, but it was irritating me. I'm not a big fan of motion blur in video games. Suppose there could be a video game where the motion blur is appealing to me while playing, but yeah. Anyway, these are my settings for The Witcher 3. And I think, once again, I'm done babbling and bloviating for this game. Let's check out Stalker. All right, here we are at Stalker. Let's load a game here. It has been forever since I played Stalker. And unfortunately, this takes the load time, takes an inordinate amount of time. Yeah, Stalker, so far of the 3 games that I'm sort of stress testing and putting on display here, Stalker chews up my system worse than any of the other ones. It really, for whatever reason, it really challenges my system. Now, I'm playing a highly modded version of Anomaly. Gamma, the Gamma mod pack is sort of running the show here with this version of Stalker. And I really haven't done the needful and figured out what I should select in this mod pack, in this Gamma mod pack, and what I shouldn't for my system. And I haven't worried about it much because I don't upload this at 4K. I don't record it and upload it to 4K. Mostly what I do with Stalker is I stream it on Odyssey. And, there's been limited, success, limited response to me streaming it on Odyssey. Occasionally I get a few viewers, not many. It's hard. Odyssey is a tough game to get, tough platform to get views on, I have to say. All right, enough of that silly griping aside. We are now recording Stalker here officially, gameplay. And as I haven't really checked out the FPS I get with Stalker, so it looks highly similar to The Witcher 3, actually. We got up to 60 FPS there. My experience with Stalker is the game runs fine until I run into a patch of enemies, and for whatever reason, the enemy AI, at least I think that's what's causing the dramatic stutters I get in the game. The enemy AI seems to make my system stutter pretty heavily. I suppose we could try to run into some enemies here and test that theory, but I'm probably just going to get killed because I haven't played in so long. I'm rusty. You know what? We could check. We could check NPCs. Let's head to the interior of this little building here. Run into some NPCs. See what kind of FPS we get with NPCs around. They're similar to enemies, right? Yeah, so we're dropping down into the 30s here. Didn't get a major stutter there when I did that, but yeah. All right, so that's pretty much. Yes, exactly. That's pretty much. There's not much to the stalker test I can show you. I mean, you should. What you should do is, if you're interested in my stalker gameplay, mostly subscribe to me over on Odyssey. I do record stalker while I'm streaming, and in either case, I'm not recording or streaming in 4K or 60 FPS. I'm streaming in 720p, 30 FPS, and I believe I'm recording in that as well. So, yeah, you're not. Well, first of all, I should say that I don't even have this game set to 4K. I have it set to 2K or 1440p. And the reason I do that is not for performance. The main reason I do that is if I don't, these damn fonts, this text here is so small in 4K I can't even read it. And especially when I get into my inventory, like I can't even like this stuff, like when I mouse over stuff, and it's so damn small I can't read it in 4K. Now I think there's a separate mod apart from Gamma that lets you play in 4K and increases the font size, but I've already got Gamma. I don't want to mod out this game anymore. And like I said, because I stream in 720p and I record in 720p, I mean, it's nice to have my 65-inch monitor, my TV, in 4K, but 2K is fine with this game. This game, I mean, the graphics are good. It looks good. I have no complaints. It's not The Witcher 3. It's not gonna blow you away with how beautiful it looks, because I mean the whole point is it's the Chernobyl exclusion zone, and the place has been turned to crap from Chernobyl melting down. So I mean, unless you're kind of into that post-apocalyptic, I don't know, dilapidated look, the look of Stalker is kind of the case, but kind of not. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like a lot of what I see in this. Oh boy, I'm about to get attacked. You gotta be kidding me. I do like this game the way it looks. I don't like being killed. Yes, take care of that for me, please, and thank you. This game kicks my ass regularly, by the way. You should, if you want to see me just get my ass kicked constantly, you should really tune into my Stalker Let's Plays and streams. Yeah, now I'm gonna black out here. But yeah, so I'm not terribly concerned with the graphics in Stalker. I'm concerned with staying alive, which most of the time I can't do. I'm concerned with the gameplay. But alright, so like I said, those I think we're done with the whatever we're doing here. What are we doing here? We're figuring out what. Let me before I die here. Let me. What should I eat something? What should I do here? Let's at least use some bandages. Do I have any bandages? All right. You know what? Let's just take some stealth here. Health. I mean, not stealth. Stalker gets me so bamboozled I can't even speak right. Yeah, so I guess that kind of clears the air here and totally puts my... Oh, I should mention that the GPU temperature, I don't know why Stalker's orange and The Witcher 3 is red. That's interesting. I don't think the red in The Witcher 3 was like sort of a warning font color, because it was that color when before The Witcher 3 got up to like 80 degrees, and Stalker here is getting close to 70 here. We're touching it a little bit. But yeah, that's sort of the GPU temperature I want to maintain while playing games. Like, keep it in the 60s, get up to the 70 at most. When I start getting to 80 degrees, I start getting a little worried. But yeah, anyway. So that should be a total laying it out there of my system's specs when playing, I don't know, games that require more horsepower, like Stalker and like The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk. And yeah, so there should be no more questioning of what sort of FPS my system can achieve, right? There should be no more drama in my comments section. Well, you know, it all depends on whether or not anybody's going to watch this, which is debatable because, you know, my YouTube channel where I get occasional drama, I really don't get that on BitChute or Odyssey because, like I said, most of the uploads, the streams there are 30 FPS anyway and 720p resolution. But if anybody comes along on YouTube and wonders whether or not I'm lying horribly, hopefully this upload will prove the point, I guess. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope this was interesting. I don't know. Like I said, most casual viewers won't give a rat's ass, but the Spurgs, I don't know. Maybe it'll interest them. It's always I mean, I'm a Spurg too, so it's interesting to me to know what rigs people have and what the specs are for those rigs, and you know, so this stuff interests me. I don't know. Hopefully it interests you guys as well. But thanks for tuning in, and I will see you in the next upload.